your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wake up call DT. Proud to be here with you inside the Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, as well as on 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse, New York. And of course, you'll find them inside Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, as well as on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location in North Syracuse, and of course on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. So, with that being said, I can't believe it's the last day of January already in the new year, but that's where we sit right now, January 31st. Syracuse Orange team is 10-11 overall, 4-6 in the ACC, and in hour number one, you'll hear from two representatives of this men's basketball team at Syracuse University. Adrian Autry coming up first in just a second here, the associate head coach, and of course an alum of the program, and Allen Griffin to follow, assistant coach on the team and a fellow alum as well. And in hour number two, we will go into numerous topics inside of the NFL with Super Bowl champion Joe Theismann be joining us here in just a little bit. So with that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, you're watching and listening on YouTube, Facebook, and mixlr.com/wake up call DT, and on wakeupcalldt.com. And up first in the trio today, Mr. Adrian Autry. Adrian, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Dan. We got a nice little lineup set up for today.
Yeah, and I know that obviously you're, in the world of basketball, but I know that you got, eyes and ears to everything. Did you sit down and at least watch a little bit of the NFL championship round yesterday?
I did. I watched the second half of both games. I mean, unbelievable games, man. It's a great football game. The Bengals coming back, being down, I think 21-3 or something like that, come back and, get that win. And then obviously the 49ers and the Rams game, that was just an exciting game all the way down to the end. So really, really good games. So it was fun to kind of unplug, so to speak, from my sport and watch some other sports.
Yeah, and definitely seeing some amazing things happen on the field and on the court over this past weekend. It was kind of crazy. 23,194 fans, tickets sold there at the Dome, the largest crowd this season for men's Division I basketball. I'm used to hearing that every single year, but Adrian, for the last couple of years, because of everything going on with COVID, we haven't had fans, number one, for half of it, and for the other half of it, it's been very spaced out, and with everything going on with different variants and whatnot, it's been a long time. What did it feel like for you in the Dome over the weekend? Because in my mind and in my heart and with my ears, I felt like for the first time in 2 years, the Dome was the Dome again. Not because fans finally showed up, but because fans could. And I mean, seeing that crowd of 20,000 plus, it just made me feel like better days are to come, so to speak. How did you take it?
Coming out of like what you just said, what we're coming out of, it was great. It felt normal. It felt, this is what our guys, our players, come here for the great fans and the great support. And by the way, just want to thank them. Can't thank the community and our student section, everybody coming out and really packing the Dome and making it be loud. We always say, and it's the truth, we got the best fans in the country. And when an opposing coach recognizes it, that speaks volumes. So just want to really thank all the fans and our student section was phenomenal coming out. And I hope they continue to come out and support. But it felt great. It was great to have everybody back in the Dome, being loud. I thought our guys really benefited from it. I think they fed off that energy and they kind of kept going. So it was awesome just to kind of get back to a kind of what college basketball is really about. And we haven't had a home game like that in a while.
And for the newcomers onto the team, I mean, obviously Jimmy knows the atmosphere from growing up around the program, but, for the Cole Swiders and Samir grew up around the program as well, but for like Cole as well as for Benny Williams and whatnot, that was their first experience of something to that magnitude. Did you have any in the locker room after the game? Did you talk to them about it? Did you kind of see their response to it, how Cole and Benny took in the fact that they got to hear the Loud House for the first time?
Oh yeah. Even Frankie. People forget Frankie. The last year's freshmen, they didn't experience that. It was an empty dome. So they just fed up their energy. And they were excited. They were into it. I mean, running back into the tunnel after the game. People asking for autographs and stuff like that. So you could just see their eyes light up, and they were so excited for that. So it was really good. It was good. We needed the win, obviously, but it was just it just reminds you of how special this place is, and I was just excited for not only for our fans, but for our team and those players.
That coming from Adrian Autry this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, associate head coach as well as an alum of the program. Adrian, for those who don't know, that title that you've worked up to get on this team, associate head coach, we talked about it a couple of years ago, and you described it as if Jim Boeheim was kicked out of a game, if Jim Boeheim didn't feel good and he couldn't be there, something happened, that you're the guy that gets the clipboard. Working your way up to associate head coach, just what you can say, how duties have maybe changed, if something more has been put on your plate, and what it means to you to have that title of these last couple of years.
Well, it's an honor to have the title, especially at my alma mater. I come in and I approach it the same way every day, and I think we all do. This is a family, and the greatest thing about our staff is that everyone has played here, and they come in, and it's more than just a job. You just want the best for this place. So every day I come in trying to do the best that I can. Obviously, certain things, may come to my desk that didn't come to my desk before. Just things, just following up on things of that sort of, making sure guys are, where they're supposed to be at, or things like that. But pretty much everything has stayed the same. We just go in and work and handle what we need to handle on a day to day. So, not much has changed, but it's really truly an honor to be here and to have that title, at a place that I love dearly.
And for you, Adrian, to be in this place, Jim Boeheim give you the opportunity. Obviously, every year people have the conversation of Jim Boeheim and is should he still be here? What about his future and this, that, and the other? What can you say about where Coach is at, how he coaches now, and just your experience with him on the daily? Because there's so many opinions from the outside looking in, but you get to be with him every single day and learn from him. So what's your take?
I mean, he's one of the greatest college coaches. He still is engaged. He still is in. He comes to work every day. He makes adjustments. So, I mean, he's still on top of his game. Again, obviously, I think sometimes, the success that he's had and the expectations that people have for this program, I think sometimes they tend to forget, that was him. He raised that. He was a coach. And obviously, this is the first time that we've kind of, in a while, this is the first time in his career that we've been at this stage of a season, under 500. But it's the first. But he's still coming in, and he's still working, and he's still coming up with different things, tweaking different things, and things like that. So I don't see any difference. He's still coaching the same.
And this season, how have you seen him coach, specifically looking at the fact that the team is under 500 and this is atypical of Syracuse in the almost 50 years that he's been the head coach? So how have you seen him respond to it, and what is he doing in practice to, show you, like you said, that he's still locked in?
Well, the one thing about Coach is he's consistent, and he never gets too high, too low. You see him continually, obviously coaching the stuff that we need to get corrected, but continually, encouraging our guys, encouraging us, encouraging the players to keep pushing forward that, and which is true. We're not even though we were losing, we're not losing by 20 and 30. We had one game, that kind of got away from us. So every game we've been in. So obviously talking about things that we need to correct, but continually encouraging these guys and telling them that we're not that far away, and which he's right. And obviously you see it come all together on Saturday. I thought defensively we were really good, and our offense was clicking. So, and Wake Forest is a very good team.
What was it the second time around? Speaking here at Adrian Autry on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal Studios. You went to Winston-Salem earlier in the season, lost 77-74 in overtime. This one, a 20-plus point victory, 94-72. What adjustments did you make, and why was this game so different that we saw Syracuse not only be on the winning side of things the second time around against Wake, but to beat them so commandingly and to really take over the entire second half?
Well, I thought it was probably one of the first games that we played a whole game. Obviously not a whole half. The first half, we played really good offense. Our defense wasn't good. And then I thought the second half, we put them both together. I thought that was the difference. The defense was really good. We got stops. We got deflections. We got out of transition. We got some easy baskets. I thought offensively, we had good rhythm. We found a hot hand Buddy got going, and then obviously Cole and Jesse, those guys capitalized when they had a chance. So I thought the ball just moved around a little bit more. We kept the ball in the right person's hand, but our defense was a difference.
And Jim's talked about that all season, that the defense had to get better offensively. He feels like you guys have been in it. You guys have been there. What are you doing specifically with the forwards defensively to help this team to elevate and mature in the middle of the season, on the defensive end, knowing that they could score when you're working with Benny and working with Cole and working with Jimmy and so on and so forth in your group of the forwards? What are you doing to make sure that defensively this team is becoming more sound?
Well, we do what we do every day. Obviously positioning and now, getting into the season, especially your second time around, people are seeing different things. So really kind of getting them to understand the game plan of what the next team is trying to execute. That's a lot of it. But, it's basically our fundamentals. And then obviously now at this point of the year, it's more of just, you're familiar with teams, you know how they're trying to attack it, you're starting to pick up on tendencies, really kind of honing in on those things.
When you talk about how close these games have been fought and that some of these losses obviously have been by a very small margin, can you parallel this to any time in your history as a player, and what do you pull from experience-wise to try and help this team get over the hump?
Well, it's funny. One of the years that I played professionally, I was on a young team, and they brought me in. It was towards the end of my career, and it was they brought me in for an experienced point guard, experienced locker room, showing trying to lead these guys, and we would play great. And then the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game, our inexperience would show. We would do things that would just kind of lose the game, and things that you don't think about. And people always think it's like the big shot, or it's typically a loose ball, or an extra rebound that we didn't get that's early on, not the last rebound. And I think our guys are starting to understand that it's not the last play, it's those plays that lead up to that, and that sense of urgency. So that's what I talked to them about. I shared to them about people always think the last shot or the last mistake is what causes something not to go your way. It's those little things in between and that lead up to that we have to eliminate, things that we can't control. Not missed shots, but, loose balls or paying attention to the assignment, taking a charge. Those are the things that we're talking about.
And having your bigs there, Adrian, to look at that room specifically, what is your take on the guys that we have out there right now at the forward position? At this point in the season when, you take a look at Jimmy Boeheim as well as Benny Williams and Cole Swider and Chaz Owens. Of these four guys, where are they at? I'd love to get your assessment on each of the players as you move forward and try to get this team back to 500.
I think the good thing is that they still improving, still getting better, still coming in, working hard, obviously figuring things out as we go. So I'm pleased with the development of those guys. They're still, the one thing about that group is they come in and they get after it every day. And I think you start to see, I think they're starting to see some success in what we're doing and how to do it. And, these guys, they're all about winning. That's what I love about this group. Is, they're very, unselfish. I mean, very, just a group that wants to win, and they'll do anything that it takes to win. And they come in and they work. So I'm very pleased with where these guys are at right now.
For Benny, you and I were talking about it off the air. I know Jim Boeheim historically of when he has a true freshman, if he doesn't have to play him, he won't. Lets them mature, lets them obviously get some experience watching under their belts, and really tries to build them up in practice before putting them out there. Fans in the microwave society that we live in think that Benny Williams should play the first game all the time, 40 minutes. And that's just never really been the Jim Boeheim way. And so in the development of Benny Williams, what can you say about where he's at and what he's doing? And then secondly, how do you respond to the fact that media was already asking him if he was going to transfer?
Well, I'll respond to the second one first, which is the media, which is, it's what it is. It's just like you said, it's everything is, we talk about building and, as parents, as adults, whether you are a manager or you work with other people, talk about building resilience and building toughness and, sticking with it. And, like you said, the first two games, things, maybe not work out. They start to, when I say they start, questioning, hey, is he transferring? Is this and that? I think we all have a responsibility, and it's not about, it's a responsibility in this world to a certain extent. As coaches, we talk about, being able to work through things and not just, being able to face adversity. Those are things, because that's how life is. And I think sometimes in the media, they have a responsibility as well. And again, I understand it, but I do believe, you need to get, unless someone is coming out and actually saying it, obviously you can ask the question, but, just to be fair, just to kind of just start that, 4 or 5 games in, I just, I don't agree with that, but that's just the way it is. But Benny, he's worked hard. He's working hard. He has a great mentality, and he will be successful. He will be good because of his mentality and his approach. The greatest thing about him is he knows he has to continue to work to get better. He always had that mindset. Obviously he's very talented, and he's starting to, he's learning how you have to bring it every day. Which not to say that he wasn't, but it's just he has more ability in him, and he's starting to realize that, and he's starting to pick it up, and and I'm just excited for his development. He's getting better every day. And so I think he'll start to see the rewards sooner than later, and he'll be fine. But I'm just truly excited about him. Love working with him. He's a talented young man, and he has a great mindset, and I think that's really going to separate him once everything comes together.
And then on Jimmy's side of it, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves, Adrian, speaking of Jimmy Boeheim, and just how fundamentally sound he is and what he learned from his time over at Cornell. Just what you could say about that piece of it. That little baby hook that he has that he's used to his advantage, and knowing kind of his spots and where he needs to go, and really understanding the different defenders he's had. I feel like fundamentals-wise, he's showing Syracuse something that maybe they haven't seen in a while, and I think it goes unnoticed what he actually does, especially when he's working in the paint, and just what you could say about that.
Yeah, Jimmy is a very high IQ player with a lot of experience. He knows how to play the game. He knows he's crafty. He has very good touch in the paint. Right hand, left hand. He just knows how to get to his spots, and that veteran experience. And he's a competitor. He wants to win. He can pass the ball. He's just a really, really good player. And obviously, he's not as flashy or what people may want to see sometimes, and he shoots threes, but he doesn't, shoot a bunch of them. But he's just a good player, someone that we rely on a lot. He's consistent, and that's what you want, So I think he's actually, kind of took Benny under his wing, and I think Benny's learned a lot from him, and he continues to learn from him of how consistent and he has to be, and not just a one-dimensional. Jimmy is inside and out, and that's what he brings. He brings a lot of versatility to our team.
And then Cole, I mean, we know that Cole Swider can shoot. Another guy, again, that, got some undue disrespect. I talked to him about 5 seconds after, I think it was within 3 days of him transferring from Villanova, and, speaking about his game, and people already questioning what he can do because he didn't play as many minutes and this, that, and the other. We know Cole can score. We know that when he's feeling it, he's feeling it. And we know that he's also, at least in my opinion, a selfless person. And at the same time, he is very critical of himself. And he's told me in every interview where he needs to get better and what he's done wrong. What do you take it away from Cole Swider? And as somebody who obviously, has been asked in your own time to shoot the ball and to pick your spots, what are you seeing in his shot that's maybe getting better at this point?
Well, I just think it's really his shot selection, and I think it's really him not just being, spotting up for threes. I think, he's starting to realize even the last game that, he can get the ball, he can go off the bounce and get to his spots. He has a very, very good mid-range game, and I think that opens it up for him. I think as he continues to make those mid-range shots and kind of go off the bounce, I think it'll loosen up the defense a little bit where he'll get some easier looks from three, which is his specialty. But, I just think his game is involved. I think, he's starting to round his game out, not just being a shooter, but actually being a total offensive player where he can make shots and create shots off the bounce to a certain degree. I think he's grown in that way.
And then with Chaz Owens, just what you could say. I mean, Billy Owens' son, he's gotten a little bit of time out there in different spots this season. He was out in this last game against Wake Forest. Just how Chaz is maturing, and because we don't get to see a lot of him, you obviously know more about his game currently. What can you tell us about Chaz?
Chaz is an athletic player, still working hard to kind of round out his game. And he brings it, great teammate, has energy. I think, he's also one of those guys that, he has a great way about him and a great mindset, and he comes to work every day, and it's fun to have him, on the team.
And in closing here, Adrian, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside the Cafe Kubal studios, Adrian, looking at the fact that Giannis and his brother came out to the game this past weekend and, seeing a championship caliber in there. What was it like to have them in the locker room, and what type of advice did they give to these young men about obviously what it takes to win at the highest level when it comes to the NBA and all these guys aspiring for an opportunity for that, aspiring to play somewhere? So what did you take away from Giannis and his brother being in the Dome, and what did it mean to you to kind of hear their message, and what was that message?
I mean, it was great having them there. All the guys are big Giannis fans. It's hard not to be the way he plays. NBA champion, a guy that stayed in Milwaukee when a lot of people would have tried to go somewhere else. He didn't. So I think, it's for that, it was just great to have someone of that caliber with that stature in our locker room and at our game. And he was into it. And he was cheering. I think the guys seen that. That was awesome. And I thought his speech was unbelievable. With the talk that he had with the guys, it wasn't a speech. The talk that he had with the guys, because it was real, it was genuine, and it was all about the team and staying together in the team and how teams, every team has, every player is a part of a team. They all have to do their job to work together as a team and stay together. And that's kind of what we've been preaching. So it was great to hear that. I think it was great to hear it from him. and understand that what we're saying kind of validates what we're talking about, and that, you know, that's what good teams do, and that's how teams are supposed to be. And, you know, if you stick with it, it's going to be ups and downs, you know, but that's what teams do, stick together and play together. And I thought that message was, I thought he really delivered that message, and I think it really impacted our guys.
Were you surprised that, you know, he wasn't just, you know, somebody that was there to have a little bit of fun and take some pictures and shake hands with the guys, but that he actually had a message for them? I mean, what did that do for you that him and his brother actually want to see this team do well, got involved, like you said, were cheering them on? It wasn't just a photo op, it was more than that.
I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less. I've actually, you know, watched some stuff on him and, you know, followed him, and I know some people that kind of know him, and they just say he, you know, they spoke about just how special a person he is. And you can just tell, you know, you can tell by his interviews, you can just tell that he's passionate about sports, he has respect for people in the sport. You know, think about this. This guy is telling our guys, hey, you know, I still listen at 27. You know, listening is a big part of getting better. Like, you don't hear too many people talk about that, you know, especially in his position. They talk about, you know, what they do, or this is, you know, he's talking about listening. So you knew he was a humble guy. You know, he's a studious guy. He wants to learn. And I thought that was, you know, one of the points that he made that stuck out the most was just talking about listening. And so, I mean, it didn't surprise me. You know, everything that I've seen or read about, you can just tell that he's a genuine person through his interviews. Anytime you see him talking and speaking, he speaks from the heart.
That coming from Adrian Autry, associate head coach for the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team, looking to continue on a positive path here in the middle of the season. And, of course, Adrian, as always, for being on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal studios. I thank you for what we've gotten to do in the community together, the fact that you always give time for me here on the show, and more than anything else, the friendship that we've built over pretty much a decade's time. More than anything, I appreciate the laughs, I appreciate the fun, and I appreciate the fact you didn't pick on my Jaguars this morning, so thank you for that.
You know, I was getting ready to give you a little shout about the Jags, but, you know, let's get it right. You know, you got to keep staying with it. Don't leave them. Stay with them through the tough times. I know you do that all the time. So, but thanks for having me on, Dan. It's always been great, man. Keep doing great things. Keep doing great work, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
All right, sounds good, Adrian. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. That coming from Adrian Autry here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We have more Syracuse Orange basketball conversation to come your way, and that is going to be right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. You're watching and listening to Wake Up Call, and I cannot wait for the conversation to come with Allen Griffin.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal studios. You are watching and listening on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. You're listening worldwide on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com. I want to thank my listeners here in Central and Upstate New York, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and around the world. Appreciate you so very much. I know there's Syracuse fans in every nook and cranny that I've been to, and so arguably I believe there's Syracuse Orange fans everywhere, and somebody that I truly appreciate and have built a friendship with and gotten to know over the years, Mr. Allen Griffin, an alum of the Syracuse program and an assistant coach on the team, is now here with us live to continue the conversation about the current state of Syracuse Orange basketball and more. So with that being said, Griff's here with us inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Allen, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Dan. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. And you know, Adrian went kind on me here. He didn't come at me sideways about my Jaguars, so I know you're not going to do that.
Now, did you guys hire a coach yet?
No, man. You know what I don't understand is my guy Nate Hackett, who was in Syracuse, he had an opportunity to potentially become the head coach there, and Denver locked him up, and then allegedly they were looking at Byron Leftwich and this, that, and I think that's too soon. So, and then Jim Caldwell's kind of a mid-range, middle-of-the-road guy. Doug Peterson, I don't know. So, I mean, once again, they're botching it again. And I told Adrian, with all of the hats that I wear, I might actually put on the Dan Tortora broadcast media resume. I might become the head coach of the Jaguars. I might have to do it.
I need to go right in state. Go right over to Tampa and go get Byron Leftwich. It's not even, it's hands down. I mean, obviously what he's done with Brady and that team, but also too, you guys got a young quarterback, and he does a great job with quarterbacks. I mean, think about Jameis Winston was there, and he had all the interceptions, but I mean he still threw how many touchdowns? So there is. You guys need to go over to Tampa and go grab that guy. I think that guy's just starting to make it. I think he got the pedigree and obviously what guy can reach your franchise quarterbacks, right now, as soon as day one, than him, obviously coming from the situation he's come from with working with one with the GOAT, in Brady. So if you want my input, tell him to call me. Tell a Jags organization to call me, and I'll make sure that they get it done.
Yeah, man. Listen, it's just they were like them and the Raiders, the first ones out of the gate to actually go out there. And when all these vacancies came out, it's like, well, you guys already had weeks to get to this, so you can get to everybody before everybody else because you've interviewed a bunch of them. And now the longer they wait, it's like they didn't fire Urban during the season, and now they're gonna be grasping at straws. So I don't know what's going on over there. All I know is that I want the future to be bright, and I need them to really hit it out of the park this time because they have swung and missed so many times in recent history, and it's beginning to feel like the Lions. It's beginning to feel like the Browns, and it hurts too much, Alan. It hurts too much. So I can't do it anymore. It's too frustrating. But
yeah, no, I get it. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm a Giants fan, and obviously a Yankee fan. So. I get it, especially with the Yankees. I'm spoiled, and I want them to win. And I think Boone is the guy, and we just need to get some more pitching in there, and we'll be all right. But this is not baseball season yet. That's another phone call.
That's very true. That coming from Allen Griffin, assistant coach on the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal studios. Jumping right into it, looking at the fact, Alan, that that the fans, 23,194 tickets sold to this past weekend's game against Wake Forest. It's been a couple of years that we've been dealing with the COVID times, and it has been so strange inside of the Dome. Last season, no fans being there, just us media and you guys, and being in a silent dome, that was very strange and eerie, and took some getting used to. And then this year, some fans, but spaced out and different protocols, and things have been very fluid as they have been for the past 2 years. When you saw the 20,000 plus, and more importantly, you heard the 20,000 plus, in my opinion, I felt like I was finally back in the real Dome for the first time in 2 years. How did you feel to be a part of that environment?
Oh, definitely. It was, it was a sight to see, great sight to see. Excuse me. I thought the students were phenomenal. It was unbelievable to see the turnout, especially coming from them, especially on a Saturday night. I was a college student before, and I know Saturday nights was for, hanging out, partying, and with the conditions outside, to have those guys come out and turn out the way they did, it was phenomenal. But also to the community, are we where we want to be? No. And do we got some stuff that we got to work out? Yes, definitely. And that's not just our team. That's every team in the country. You still got to work some kinks and stuff out. So for the community to back these guys up and continue to support the way they did a couple of nights ago, it was a sight to see. And the kids deserve it because they continue to play hard. They and they're not letting where we are in terms of our record dictate how hard they play or what they bring every day. They just been consistent, and if we can kind of turn some wins, back to back, it'll show dividends.
What do you love about this year's team? Knowing that this team has gone through a bunch of adversity, what do you personally love about what you see, because you see it from the inside out?
There's everyday practice. It's a one of those deals where it's these guys continue to fight. They're fighting. They understand what's going on, and excuse me, the energy that they bring every day is just excuse me. Sorry, Dan.
It's okay.
It's one of those deals where they're showing their true character, and it's great to be around these guys every day.
And when you look at what this team is working to do at the point that they're at right now, what gives you the most hope with this team currently, 21 games into the season?
Again, just how they come every day to practice, and what they bring every day to practice is the encouraging thing. And I know that if we can get some of the balls to bounce our way, coming down the stretch here, we'll win a lot more games.
Jim Boeheim, so many people have an opinion. You know that. You knew that when you played here. You know that now. What do you see from Jim in a year that is atypical of his almost 50 years coaching at Syracuse, to be below 500 and then to be at 500, then be above it, then be back below it and whatnot? How have you seen him this season coach, and what are you taking from him that makes you believe that he is still very vibrant in the game? Because I feel that everyone has an opinion of him, but you actually get to spend every day with him. So what can you say about it?
He's a competitor. And you know what? He's seen a lot of crazy things happen throughout his years of coaching. And you just never know what could happen, And that's the spirit that he brings every day. And practices, again, are very competitive still. Practices are fun to be at practice. Like, it's some people that has similar records to us across the country, and their practices might not be as good as ours. It's just one of those things where it's a testament to him and the time that, he is put in his game. And it's just one of those things where I take stuff from him every day.
What's so good about practice?
We competing, and as a former player and a competitor myself, like, you like to see that. You like to see guys go at each other. You like to see players talk smack. Like, to play the game where people are not even talking about. I think outside of, Buddy had a great great game. Buddy played his tail off. 37-5. I think that's legendary for for a player. But the player today for me, just knowing what we're going through and being in the locker room every day, is when Benny Williams, who's had his ups and downs this year, dived on the ball and wrestled the ball away from one of their players. That showed that these guys got a lot more fight, and they got a lot of great character, man, and that's what it's about. Sometimes it's not stuff and that are successful in your season. Sometimes don't reflect through your record or what you finish or how you finish. Just as little things, seeing guys battle through certain things and overcome certain things, and that's why we're here. That's why we coach, and again, that's why I love our practices, because you get to see that battle and all that stuff every day.
That coming here from Allen Griffin, a Syracuse Orange assistant coach here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal studios. Taking a look at the center position, you and I talked about it off the air. Barama Sidibe, he's a fighter. He never gives up. He has tried over and over and over again. Seeing him for a couple seconds get in there a few games ago and get into the lane and get two at the basket just means a lot to me in a different way, because I've gotten to know him over the years personally and professionally. What can you tell me about Barama's fight and maybe how it inspires you?
Like we talked off the air, it's very unfortunate, because for a kid that is an everyday kid and a kid that's very one of the best kids that I've been around in this business, to see him go through what he's gone through in the last 2 years, it sucks. And that's the only word I can kind of say. It just sucks. And your heart pours out to guys like that, because Barama, he just brought energy. He competed, he competes, and he cares about his teammates and the program, and just to see him go through that stuff, and just it sucks, but just to see him out there, like you said, and see him score is one of those things where, like I said previous, is that you get to see that stuff every day in practice, and it's just a sight to see. But again, it's very unfortunate that Barama has missed as much time as he did, but it's just a good thing to have him out there.
And the center that you do have out there starting for you, Jesse Edwards, I am getting increasingly frustrated. Alan, I know that you work with the bigs, work with the centers, and at Syracuse, and I am increasingly frustrated at the fact that Jesse, I feel like he gets called for fouls just because he's big. And I know that sometimes he puts his hand down or, might move and make a mistake, but him and I have talked about this season how frustrating it is as a big man to go for a block, to, be underneath and consistently get called for fouls and maybe not get fouls called for you. How do you assess it? How do you deal with it? How do you train him, knowing that it we live in a world where NCAA basketball, it feels like almost impossible sometimes for a guy who's around 7 feet to not get called for fouls consistently.
Yeah, Dan, is one of those things where you just gotta, go about it every day and just, do what you do. Especially a couple times in that the game against Wake, it was like two fouls that was called on him. I thought that it was kind of maybe 70-30, and the ref, and it's one of those things where it goes by game, so you gotta trust what you do every day and just tell Jess, he's gonna get 1 or 2 fouls that's called on him that could be questionable, but the next 3. You can't do the stupid ones and put yourself in a situation. You got to prepare for a referee missing something. They're not human either. I mean, they're human. Like all of us, and they all make mistakes. So again, the thing about Jess, especially early on when he had that streak where he was fouling out, it was like 1 or 2 fouls that he was getting. He was committing just dumb fouls. Just one of those, knowing that he can't get to a ball, but, trying to get to a ball. It's just certain things that you can, kind of help yourself and help that case. And I thought he played really, really good, and he played really smart against Wake. And he had those 3 fouls, 4 fouls. down the stretch where he played a long stretch where he didn't commit a foul to put us at a disadvantage with him on the bench. So he's continuing to getting better. The more he's out there, the better he's getting, and that's just what it is too. Is just experience and being in those situations and knowing what you can do and what you can't do is paying off for him.
He makes free throws at almost 7 feet. He's got a good touch on the ball. I have seen him steal. I've seen him get after it, knock a ball out, and then steal, an inbound pass and then get after it and whatnot. I mean, he's done a lot of work to make himself look like a point guard at times. He's got a nice touch. He's got a nice fadeaway. He gets in the lane. He can dribble well. To me, he's the most improved player on the team from last season to this season. What can you say from your everyday with him? Because what I'm seeing from Jesse Edwards is that in a decade at Syracuse, he might be the best all-around center, and I don't think that we have seen his true potential yet. So how do you take it?
Yeah, the thing where Jess has improved the most is, strength. His strength and conditioning has gotten really good, gotten better, and the potential of him getting a lot better is through the roof. So and it starts with his strength and conditioning. I think you say that's his biggest jump, and that's why he's able to compete at the level that he's competing at, and he just got to continue just to keep working on his strength and conditioning, and the sky's the limit for him. And I think all those centers were great in their games, especially when you got Fab Melo. Fab Melo was a defensive specialist. Fab Melo was a phenomenal defender, and he was one of the best defenders I've seen. You had Bakita, who was a great, defensive guy. Then you had Arenze, who was a brute force down there, especially offensively. And you had Rakeem Christmas, who was phenomenal in terms of his offense. And again, all those guys were different in their rights, and they brought a lot to the program, and they left their stain on the program. And I think Jesse's going through his time, and hopefully, we haven't seen the best of him, and we'll let time tell with all that.
Yeah, and then your other center that's gotten some ample minutes there, Frank Anselm, just what he's been able to do. And in this game against Wake, found him in very close quarters from one possession to the next of getting the ball inside and having him dunk it home. Things that you see used against Syracuse's 2-3 zone. Frank actually did it to his advantage. Where do you feel, I know you and I talked about Frank a lot going into the season, where is he at right now, 20-plus games in your opinion, as opposed to where you're trying to work him to be? Where is the Frank Anselm maturation at this point?
Frank is just starting to scratch the surface. He's a late bloomer in terms of basketball, playing the game. His upside is huge as well. And I say this, and I don't use this lightly. I mean this with the highest regard and the highest, upwards respect towards Frank, is that he's probably been the most improved player that I've ever been around. Period. And that's not to say he was, one of the worst player. No, it's just his improvement from year to year has been phenomenal, and that's a lot. You gotta, that's a testament to him and the work that he put in this summer. Again, he's just scratching the surface, and the sky's the limit to where he can be. He's just an everyday kid, man. That's the greatest thing about our program right now, and is that we got a bunch of everyday kids, and sometimes, again, the record is not reflecting it, but when you're in it, you're there every day at practice, you get to see, again, these guys compete against one another, and it's just one of those things where I'm happy to go to practice every day.
And John Bolajak, somebody that you obviously see in practice, we don't see on the floor a lot, but what he has done, and maybe what you could tell us about where he's at and what he could maybe mean to this team down the stretch if there's something that's catching your eye with his game as well.
John is, started off slow this year, some injuries which set him back, but he's gotten close to 100% or right at 100%, and John has earned his way on the floor. He's been great in practice, and he's one of the leading guys that brings that competitive nature to practice every day. There's no secret to playing basketball and to earning minutes. You got to do it every day in practice, and that will, show in games. And that's how coach, and that's how the program's been ran for forever. So John has been really good and continue to be good. And he's going to, with that, his minutes hopefully increase, and you'll see him out there a lot more.
And one of the things, too, about this team, and I spoke with Adrian about it, is Benny Williams. I find it interesting that people forget that Jim Boeheim, when he has a true freshman on the team historically, he lets that person mature, he lets them learn, he lets them watch and gain experience, but he doesn't throw them out there right away. In the world we live in today, in a microwave society, Benny's got to play, Benny's got to play, Benny's got to play. And it's not about developing a player anymore, where to Jim, I would argue that it still is. So what can you say about Benny Williams and where he's at? And then at the same time, how do you feel about the fact that just a few games into the season, people in the media were asking him if he was going to transfer and if he was unhappy?
I mean, that's the world we live in right now, which absolutely sucked because, I just had this conversation with a buddy of mine, and he doesn't understand the business as much as, obviously me being in the business, and he was asking me a lot of questions, and the thing about it was the transfer portal. And the thing that he said to me that really resonated with me and hit home was, he said, the days of watching a player grow in a program are over. Like maybe didn't play that much his freshman year, but his sophomore, his junior year, and senior year, you can see a maturation of a kid, from a boy to a man, so to speak. And now you don't see that because of the rules and the way college basketball is set up now, and college sports, period, not just basketball. And it's just one of those things where with Benny, 10 years from now, you're going to call Benny, and Benny's going to tell you that his freshman year was probably the best thing that ever happened to him. And I'm going on record saying that because it's allowed Benny to really, really get better mentally and understand what he needs to do to being, the player that everybody's projected him to be. And that's the great thing about coaches is that he sees that, and that's what he coaches off of. Like, you've seen talent in Jesse Edwards when he was a freshman, but Coach was the first guy to say by Jesse's junior year he'll be a good player.
Yeah.
And look what's happened. If you go back and you look at your records and you look at press conferences, and when Coach talked about the team when Jesse was a freshman, he said that, and he said it to me when I went down to Florida to go see it, when I sent him back the film and stuff. So again, like, and we're in a society now, in a time now of everybody want everything right away. It's never we can wait for something or you can earn something. It's just like, give it to me now and I'll earn it later. Whereas to what I was used to is you work to earn certain things. So Benny's gonna be fine. I think Benny is a hell of a kid, and two, he's going to be a really good basketball player. And sometimes it just takes some guys a lot more time than others, and that's just the case here. And Benny's going to be fine. He just got to stick with what's going on. And Coach Autry has been working with him day in and day out, and Benny's going to turn out to be the Benny Williams that everybody wants to see. Maybe it just didn't happen, this year, and it's starting to come. Benny. I think Benny's going to be fine.
Great answer to a question that so many people are thinking about. Final note here: Giannis and his brother come into the game. Some people come and it's a photo op and they shake hands and they wave at the camera. they took the time to speak to the team and be in the locker room. What can you say about the message from these gentlemen that came in from the Bucs and from a championship team? Just what the message was and maybe what resonated with you.
I mean, first and foremost, Dan, we have to thank the guy who brought him here and who is a good friend to our program, who is a Syracuse guy through and through, and knew what this team needed at this particular moment. And, he went out and, through his friends, created this relationship with these guys, and he brought them to our situation. So, Adam, we got to thank Adam for that first and foremost, because, if he's not with us, that never happens. And the message that Giannis said to our team was the message that hit dead on. And I can guarantee you that Giannis probably never watched us play this year, and prior to him coming here. So, and for him to spot on see what we did that night, knows that we're doing something right. And again, it's probably not reflecting what we're, in our record, but he's seen the passion, he's seen the hard work that our guys were doing out there. He's seen the communication from the bench to the players and from the players to the bench. He talked about all that, and he hit home with a lot of our guys, and hopefully we can take that and use that for the rest of the season and just try to win as many basketball games as we can.
That coming here from Allen Griffin, assistant coach and alum, Syracuse Orange men's basketball, as they look to build on recent success. Ton of awesome opportunities for the fans to hear from the inside out, and thanks to you, Allen, they got to do that today. So thank you for all the work that you're doing, for everything you put forward, for helping these bigs to mature specifically, and more than anything else, thanks for our friendship, because it means a lot to me, and I appreciate that very much. So, it means something different when you know the people behind the curtain, because you want them to succeed that much more. So thank you for everything, and I'm always rooting for you.
All right, thanks, Dan. Appreciate you having me on.
And I'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Take care. That coming from Allen Griffin once again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We're going to take a quick step aside on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Super Bowl champion Joe Theismann to talk all things NFL right after this.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecubal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you download their app on the Google Play and Apple App stores to have everything at your fingertips, from homemade breads and desserts to their quinoa bowls, rice bowls, salads, brick oven pizzas, and sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, the Millhouse Market is such a huge part of our community, and they pay it forward by having local products from local businesses in their general store, as well as their indoor dining bistro restaurant, and that menu changes every single week, and the drive-up window where you can grab your food and go every Tuesday through Sunday. The Millhouse Market, worth your drive every single time to help the community, support the community, now more than ever. 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, and we appreciate everybody that's gone out there. With that being said, back inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. It is hour number 2, and I can't believe the last day of January of the new year here in 2022. And the person that's here with us for hour number 2 to carry us home this morning is someone who's no stranger to the broadcast. I can't even believe I'm saying this, but I've known him now for 12 years. We met back in 2010. And Super Bowl champion, Washington Redskin, Notre Dame Fighting Irish alum, and somebody who is an author, who is a public speaker, a motivational speaker. He's worn so many different hats, and as great as he has been and as successful as he has been, the humbleness and the fact that he always kind of just talks to me on the phone like I'm talking to a friend that I've known for a long time, that more than anything else means the world to me about Joe Theismann, that we really just talk like two men about a sport that we both love very much. So, yes, he's extremely talented. Yes, he's a Super Bowl champion. Yes, many people know him all over the world, but I know him as a friend. And so that being said, I want to welcome him back onto the broadcast to talk about a lot of things I'm excited about today. Mr. Joe Theismann. Joe, how you doing today?
I'm good, Dan. Thank you. How do you follow an introduction like that? I guess I'll just sit and listen to you. I think it's, but no, it's always great to catch up with you. Thank you so much. What an incredible 2 weeks of football we've seen. I mean, if the Super Bowl comes anywhere close to what we've seen over the last 2 weeks, you'd have to say it's been the greatest month of football we've ever seen in the history of the game.
Yeah, it has been so amazing. And one of the things in the divisional round that I really have been focusing in on is, this, offense and defense, so much is focused on that. And in special teams is always like the little brother thrown to the side. In the divisional round, every single game, the Bengals needed the field goal from Evan McPherson. The Rams to stave off the Bucs from trying to repeat with Tom Brady in the championship game. They needed Matt Gay. Then, we look at, what the Niners needed in Robbie Gould. And then Harrison Butker to force overtime. 3 games end on a field goal at the end of the game. And another game goes into overtime because of a field goal. Every single one of the divisional round games came down to the final moments, and they all relied on the leg of their kicker. And I feel like that in and of itself is just a true testament to the importance of special teams and to how well put together these playoffs were, that these matchups were pretty even all throughout.
Yeah, I agree. And, one other thing, too, is you can't forget that Green Bay got knocked out. I think Green Bay was the proverbial favorite to get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. Everybody sort of talked about that with Aaron and his situation to yet to be resolved. But San Francisco's special team stepped up there, blocked the field goal, blocked the punt. Difference in the game. Just having started my career as a punt returner And having been a holder all my life since I was in high school, it's exciting to be a part of the special teams. It's a unit unto itself. A lot of those guys aren't starters, but that's their job. But they are starters as special teamers. So it's unfair to say a guy on special teams isn't a starter. They start in their unit, just like offense, just like defense, just like special teams. One of the things I talk about all the time is that little word team, that acronym. Together, everyone achieves more.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we saw in the playoffs. And like I said, I mean, you had, the divisional rounds, they were all walk-offs. The touchdown that Kansas City got in overtime, that was a walk-off. And now you look at these two games and the scores of these games, and it's like, wow, is this a precursor to what we're possibly going to see in the Super Bowl? Because both of these teams are quite capable of putting points up. Obviously, Cincinnati has proven that their defense, the most unheralded part of their team, is, up to the task to handle anybody. I mean, you handle a major running game against the Titans. You handle an air show against Kansas City. So they have to feel like, okay, you bring whatever you want to bring, we're here. So it's fun. And, of course, the Rams, I think OBJ just really has made a world of difference to that football team. A great compliment to Cooper Kupp.
And that's the thing, taking a look at this, you brought up the Tennessee Titans and what the Bengals, have been able to do and how they responded so far and what they did against the run, what they did against, Pat Mahomes in the air raid with the Chiefs. When we go back to Tennessee and we look at Green Bay, like you said, the proverbial favorite, I spoke about with the new playoff scenario, 7 teams on each side, only the number 1 seed gets a bye, that it's great to go into the next round and not have to play the game, but could it be detrimental? How do you view it now, seeing the fact that both number 1 seeds, the only teams to sit out the wild card round, lost in the divisional round? It's good to have home field advantage, of course. I'm not going to argue against that. That would be insane. But do you think there is a disadvantage to not playing in the first week of the playoffs?
Not really. I think most of all, it gives you a chance to get healthy, which is if you have players that are hurt. And that's the big thing, is who can stay healthy. You're not only dealing with injuries, but you deal with COVID. And, we had a lot of that occur through the course of the season. And, hopefully it's not going to affect anything that happens in the next couple of weeks going forward. But, we won a world championship. I was part of a world championship where we didn't have a bye. And then we lost a world championship when I had a bye. So, I mean, they're so used to dealing with buys now and time off. I mean, everybody gets a week off, so the coaches really have a formula for what they want to do and how they want to prepare. Now there's going to be another 2-week period for them to get ready for another game. But the biggest thing is with all these games, it's a lot of football. I mean, you play 17 games and then you're playing 20 football games and plus 21 if where we have 2 teams, and that's a lot of wear and tear on your people. I think the league, after this year with 17 games, has to step back a little bit and maybe increase the active roster so that you have people available on the field. I know with the practice squad, you can, move them up and down at least once without having to put them on an active roster or release them outright or put them out on the waiver wire. So, the league has worked very hard to make this whole thing work. And the amount of games that the players are playing, you get beat up pretty darn bad during the course of the game. I mean, you look at some of those hits. You look at that shot that Deebo Samuel took in that game, and you're going to feel that the next day. But then all of a sudden, 6 days later, you got to get ready to go play football. So I think that it's a credit to the guys to be able to sustain through the course of a 17-game schedule as well as the playoffs as we've seen them.
Yeah, and in seeing, like you said, how many games these gentlemen have to go through in the expansion of it. Week 18, we saw a lot of value in that extra game, that 17th regular season game, and there were a lot of teams that couldn't rest their starters because there was so many implications in the playoffs because of it, and teams still trying to get in. What do you think about Week 18 now that we've seen it for the first time ever? Good, bad, good for the game, bad for the game? How do you view the fact that expanding the regular season doesn't shorten the postseason, going off the point that you just made?
And I think there's two things, Dan, really. The way the league has scheduled the division rivals at the end of the season is exciting. We saw how important that was. And then also having that extra game, you still get the week off at some point in time. And I think the fans love it, and the players haven't griped about it much. So if the players are okay with it, then I'm certainly okay with it.
That coming here from Super Bowl champion Joe Theismann on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Let's go into these games. The Cincinnati Bengals defeating the Chiefs. Bengals have made it to Super Bowls in 1981 and 1989. Played the Niners in both of them, lost both of them, and were close to having an opportunity for third time's a charm. But the Rams had something to say about it, ending their game when they were down 17-7, scoring 13 unanswered points to send Matt Stafford to his first ever Super Bowl in a season where he won his first ever playoff game. The most unlikely of sorts Super Bowl, Cincinnati versus LA for the Rams. What can you say about these games we saw in the championship round and the two teams that have emerged to represent this country and this league?
Well, I would say that, first of all, that, you take your hat off to the Cincinnati Bengals, looking at what they were the last couple of years, but it also explains to you the value of a quarterback. I think you look at the Cincinnati Bengals and you say, where were they without Joe Burrow? Where are they with him now? Matthew Stafford was brought to the Rams for this specific reason, actually not just to get to the Super Bowl, but to win the Super Bowl. That's why the deal was made. Now, the Rams don't have a number one pick until 2024. Not that they're going to need them because they've got, a fairly young football team. But, those guys were in positions. And, Patrick Mahomes' performance, whoever came out after to start the second half for Kansas City did not look like Patrick Mahomes. He looked tentative, and I watched that game, and I watched him throw the ball, and I just thought, who is this guy? He's not the Pat Mahomes we're used to. He ran around a lot, put the kicker in some precarious situations. Didn't get the ball out of his hands in a timely fashion, which he normally does. And I just, the decisions weren't there. So, it was a tough go for him all the way around. And of course, Ryan Tannehill rides that train down in Tennessee. Derrick Henry really wasn't Derrick Henry. He was sort of a guy trying to come back and play. But there's so many different instances in these games. And then, of course, with San Francisco, they wanted a street fight, and the Rams accommodated them. A lot of times, San Francisco is a tough, extremely well-coached football team, and they had a chance to put it away. It's just, it's the way the game is sometimes. You got an interception that's just floating into your hands, and you drop it.
Yeah,
because that's going to be the game right there. I mean, the Rams, they're taking their shot, and the throw was in the middle of the football field, and it's almost like kicking a field goal between two uprights. You had the Rams on the outside and the Niner in the middle, and the ball got away from them. So, and for Jalen Ramsey on the other side, even though he had one hit him in the chest, it didn't affect the outcome of the game.
Yeah, and there was so many. We were talking about it off the air. Speaking here with Super Bowl champion Joe Theismann on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, that Cincinnati, I was watching that game thinking to myself, are they going to kick themselves? Are they, look at this opportunity to potential fumble recovery, here's a sack that they could have had and whatnot. And the same thing for the Rams, that, there were mistakes. Not only did these teams make it to the Super Bowl, but they overcame late game mistakes that could have cost them literally everything. Just what you could say about that. I mean, in both games, there were opportunities that were botched by the defenses that could have closed the games out a lot sooner.
Absolutely. And, the thing that people won't talk about it because we like to talk about Kyler Murray as a guy that runs around a lot. But you look at the two scrambles that Joe Burrow made for first downs, actually three, were so critical in that game. Critical for field position, critical for points, critical for drives. I mean, how he escaped some of that stuff was just amazing. But that's the composure that this young guy has. He's very, extremely impressive, I guess you could say.
And from a quarterback to a quarterback, looking at Joe Burrow, statistically, he spent 2 seasons in the NFL, and in his first one, 65.3% completion percentage. Did get hurt. He was under 3,000 yards passing, had 13 touchdowns and 5 interceptions as a rookie. And then this year, we see 34 touchdowns to 14 interceptions in the regular season, over 4,600 yards, and 70.4% completion percentage. He came into the NFL as the number 1 pick, came into the NFL after winning the College Football Playoff National Championship with LSU, and now in his second season in the NFL, he's going to the Super Bowl. What is Joe Burrow showing you? You know what it takes to be a quarterback. You know what it takes to win a Super Bowl. What do you see out of Joe Burrow?
I see composure. I see athleticism. I think one of the things you really have to be able to do is throw the football at this level. And he's extremely accurate, which is, I have evidence of his 70% completion percentage this year. But I think his toughness, I think he has a quiet calm about him that permeates through the entire football team. I think Zach's the same way as head coach. It's a perfect marriage from personalities as far as I'm concerned. You got a head coach that really, it looks like on the sidelines like he's enjoying what's going on no matter what's going on. And you've got a quarterback that everybody believes and trusts in. And that's the big thing, is when you sit on the bench and you're on the sidelines and your teammates look at you, are you the guy that can get it done for them? Are you the guy that can make that play? And you can't talk about it. You have to go do it. That's exactly what Joe has done.
Yeah, and for you to see him do it so quickly, what do you attribute that to? I mean, do you put it on the coaching staff and their ability to help him mature? Is it more on his leadership that he's had himself? I mean, when you look at who Joe Burrow is, what do you attribute to maybe being the ingredients to success, to why not only is he where he is right now, but that he did it so quickly?
I think it's a combination of both. You can't get it done without a system. You can't get it done without coaches, and you can't get it done without the individual that you are. So in his instance, I think it's all three.
And you talked about Pat Mahomes and the fact that he didn't look like himself in the second half of the game against the Bengals. When you see what Pat has been able to do in the late game heroics he had, let's go back to that game against the Bills. And first and foremost, and again, people want to talk about offense and this, that, and whatever, but I look at the Bills defense and say 13 seconds should not be enough time. Those final 13 seconds that we saw to force overtime, your take on the Bills-Chiefs game, and then your take on Pat Mahomes, and if you've seen anybody in recent history in the NFL be as poised and as calm as he is, besides maybe a Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Joe Burrow. I think you saw Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford be as calm as Patrick is. Patrick plays with a different style. Both of those guys work basically out of the pocket. Patrick works out of the pocket, but he also moves around quite a bit. And, I think when I look at that Buffalo-Kansas City game, the one thing that jumps out at me is how valuable timeouts are.
Yeah.
I mean, Kansas City doesn't stand a chance in that game if they have no timeouts or they have one timeout, because the clock's going to run out. Also, the slightest decision. Once again, here's a special teams play. There's 13 seconds to go, and you kick the ball in the end zone so no time runs off the clock if you're the Buffalo Bills. You scratch your head. They have the timeouts. You're going to give them the ball at the 25-yard line, make them field it, take 13 seconds down to 8. So maybe they get one play, and maybe you stop them at the 20 or the 15. Squib kicks are hard to pick up sometimes. And that was, so again, a special teams decision, not necessarily a play, but the decision that basically affected the outcome of the game. So, you have, and then you can't not talk about Josh Allen and what we saw him do through the course of the year in all kinds of weather, under all kinds of conditions. I mean, the NFL will lose. We lost Drew Brees. Peyton Manning is retired. We saw Drew Brees retire. Tom Brady, I don't think will retire. My personal feeling is, I know there's been a lot of reports, but Tom hasn't confirmed anything.
Yeah.
These guys will ride off into the sunset. And here come the young guns. Here comes Joe Burrow. Here comes Josh Allen. Here comes Matthew Stafford, who's sort of the senior member of the young guns, I guess you could say. And you look at these young quarterbacks and you think to yourself, man, the NFL is in a good place to get excited about in years going forward.
Joe, who, in your opinion, as we talk about all these names, if we look at the upper echelon, tier one of the NFL, who are the tier one quarterbacks in your mind? I know we've named a bunch. I have a list here myself, but who would you say is the upper echelon in the NFL?
I think we've seen it. We've seen it in the playoffs. It is Joe Burrow. It is Patrick Mahomes. It is Josh Allen. We've seen these guys perform and play. It is Aaron Rodgers. How many more years is Aaron going to play? I mean, that's again, a big question as we go forward. But we've seen the value of a quarterback and how important they are to the success of a team.
Where does Matt Stafford stand, in your opinion? I mean, this is a guy who was with the Lions doing a tremendous job, but, things kind of overlooked because they weren't a playoff team. They weren't a successful team. They were changing coaches and whatnot. Where is Matt when you look at the upper echelon of the NFL? Where does he stand, in your opinion?
I think when you look at Matthew's position on the Rams, and Dan, you've heard me talk about this time and time again, the quarterback position is the single most dependent position on the field.
Yeah.
And so when you look where Matthew Stafford is and the team around him, I mean, Cooper Kupp setting all kinds of records catching the ball, touchdowns, yards, receptions, everything. When you have that kind of production out of people around you, you have a chance to be successful. And that's exactly what we've seen out of Matthew. Put in the right place at the right time. I asked Tom Brady once, I said, what made you great? I said, just off the top of your head, don't spend a lot of time thinking about it, but what made you great? He said, the right time, the right place, and the right people. And I think that applies to Matthew Stafford this year.
And you mentioned Tom Brady, and you said something that I agree with wholeheartedly. When I saw that he allegedly had retired, I laughed. I was like, that man is going to be a quarterback for the rest of my life. So he's going to be a quarterback.
I hope you live longer than a year, Dan.
Well, I don't see a world where he's not. And so how do you, speaking here with Joe Theismann on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, why do you believe he's not done? And because you said, I don't think he's retiring. I know there's reports out, but I don't think it's going to happen. So what makes you believe that, and how long do you think he'll be around?
I think one more year if he is going to go. Now, I don't know if he's going to come back or not. I think he might come back one more year. But, Tom's not the kind of guy to make a decision while the playoffs are still going on. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have to evaluate their football team. Remember, he went to Tampa Bay for a reason, because he felt like they had all the ingredients and just needed, basically him to perform at the level that he can perform at to have a chance to win a Super Bowl. And they did. He's not going to all of a sudden ride off into the sunset before the season even ends. He has to sit down. I think he's going to sit down with Bruce Arians. He's going to sit down with Byron Leftwich. Is Byron going to stay, or is he going to become a head coach somewhere? Who on that defensive roster is going to stay? Who on offense is going to stay? Who are one of the best lines in football? Who are the free agents? Can the Tampa Bay Buccaneers afford to keep them? Those are all things that Tom's going to have a conversation about, and I don't believe he's had a chance to do that yet. He's sort of decompressing after the season. It's only been a week, So it's like I think the reports of my decline are premature, I guess you could say, in Tom's case.
Yeah, and the other one that everybody wants to know about, not that he's retiring, but what the deal is. Again, the world of a quarterback, the world of an NFL quarterback, and you know how valuable a quarterback is and what a Super Bowl champion quarterback is for a team. Aaron Rodgers' value is very high. We know he's successful. Arguably, he could be successful in any one of the 32 NFL franchises. What do you take from the Packers situation with him and the fact that Nathaniel Hackett, his offensive coordinator, is now gone and the head coach of the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, but Matt LaFleur is still there. And, Matt and Nathaniel work together. So you don't really – the offense isn't going to change. It's going to be basically the same. And I think the best place for Aaron to be is Green Bay. He's not a spring chicken anymore. And, is he going to be able to take Devontae Adams with him? I think what they'll do is they'll probably wind up franchising Devontae until they can work out a deal to keep him in Green Bay. The Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers. Now, Jordan Love is a young guy they put their faith in a few years ago, but he's not Aaron Rodgers. Nowhere near him.
Yeah.
You're talking about a football team that potentially, wins 13 games, 14 games. that could probably cut that number in half with just a transition at the quarterback position. So from my perspective, I think, and then if you have AR, hold on one second, Marty. Okay, just hang on one second. Sorry.
That's okay.
Had to deal with something. If Aaron goes someplace else, it's there's the learning of a new system. Is there a Devontae Adams where he will go? Can he be in the same kind of a situation that Tom is in to look at a football team and say, I'd like to go there. Maybe Tom retires and Aaron winds up at Tampa Bay. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. And looking at the carousel, before I let you go here quick with Joe Theismann, looking at the coaching carousel and what that could mean, too, for the future of these franchises. Raiders looking at bringing in Josh McDaniels. The Giants looking at Brian DeBole, who's coming onto the team, as well as the fact that the Denver Broncos, like I said, with Nate Hackett. Chicago Bears with Matt Eberflus. Of those that have already been locked up, your thoughts? And then seeing that the Saints, the Jaguars, the Vikings, as well as the Dolphins and the Texans still have these vacancies. What's your take of this season's NFL coaching carousel?
I think you look at offensive coordinators. It's like the head coaches, the new head coaches that have been named so far. Most of them are offensive coordinators. So when you get a chance to take a look at exactly what teams want to do, is they want to be more productive on offense. I think they can find conceptually what they're looking for on the defensive side of the ball, but offensively, one of the most important things you want to do is be able to put points on the board.
And Jacksonville, what is your, for Trevor Lawrence, number one pick, a guy who's been so successful, barely lost any games in high school and at Clemson, has been a champion numerous times before he came to the NFL. What's your advice to Trevor Lawrence, and what do you think is going on in Jacksonville right now?
I think one of the most important things that happened for Trevor is he got through this season healthy. He had a chance to line up in the National Football League and take snaps and look at himself on film. And coaches can look at that and evaluate him and put him in a situation where he has a chance to be successful. That wasn't the case the way it was set up down there for him before that. And I think it'll be that case now. He moves well. He's a big guy, has a good arm. He passes the eye test very, very well. And I think that's one of the things you want to look at is arm strength is important at this level. You have to be able to make certain throws. And he has all that stuff. And it's just a question of what offense they're going to put in him. And it goes back to what I said before, Dan. The quarterback position is the most dependent position on the field. And so who's going to be around him in Jacksonville? That's going to be the big question.
And the last thing here on 2/2/2022, we're going to see the new Washington nickname and the new logo. Is there anything you can tell us? Have you seen it? Do you know it? Do you have a feeling about it? As we know that this week we're going to see who the Washington team is going to be for the foreseeable future, and we're going to see what it looks like.
I have not got any confirmation from anybody, but I think it's going to be the Commanders. I believe that's who we're going to be, which I like. I would have liked the name to stay, but of course time moves on and circumstances change things. So as it turns out, I think that's who we're going to be. I'm excited about the logo. I'm glad we've kept the colors so that we'll be, burgundy and gold, which is exciting going forward. And it's going to be a new start for the franchise. It's a new start for the players. They get to create their own legacy going forward. And there's a lot of newness happening in Washington.
Coming from Super Bowl champion and Washington Redskins alum Joe Theismann. Joe, as always, I appreciate it. There's a million other places we can go, and we'll do that at another time here down the road, hopefully soon. But as always, thank you for being a part of the broadcast, and more than anything else, thank you for over a decade of friendship and being very humble and always making time for me. I respect the man that you are more than anything else, and I want to thank you for that.
Thanks, Dan. It's always good catching up. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
That coming from Joe Theismann once again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I had to get it in. What is Washington? And I thought he was going to say, it could be this, it could be that. Did Joe Theismann just break 2 days before the announcement that it's going to be the Commanders on my show? Did he just come on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and tell us all what we've been wanting to know? Are they going to be the Washington Commanders? Did we just get breaking news? Uh-oh. So, wow. Woo! What a show. What a time. And I know Joe is very busy. I know all these wonderful guests we have. I know Allen Griffin and Adrian Autry, they're getting on the road tomorrow. And, you know, going to get some games in, get some opportunities in here. Get another matchup in for the Syracuse Orange and try to get to 500. And then, you know, Joe Theismann just literally talked to us about, in my opinion, every important topic in the NFL right now. Who are the upper echelon of quarterbacks? What are his thoughts on Tom Brady if he's going to retire? What are his thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers? What advice would he give to Trevor Lawrence, and what does he think's going on in Jacksonville? What does he think of the NFL head coaching carousel? How does he view the Bengals and the Rams in this upcoming Super Bowl? What is going to be the Washington nickname and the logo for the future? We just touched upon like everything. Literally, we should have broken the internet. Because Joe Theismann is awesome. And I love the fact that he does not hide things. You know what I mean? When we talk, it's, Dan, hey, this is what I think. This is how I view this player. This is how I view what's going on here. This is what I'd like to see happen. This is what I think is going to happen. Joe Theismann is not only great, you know, for me to have that friendship, but it's great to see that when he comes on the show, he's so open, you know? And I think you build that with trust over time. I'd like to believe that. I'd like to believe that honesty and integrity and how I carry myself in this show, that helps to create an environment that we just had. So I'm honestly speechless. I don't know what to do with the fact that he just pretty much broke that Washington's name is going to be the Commanders and they're keeping their colors. So I'm going to go to a fast break, pass out, wake back up, and finish the show. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. What just happened? Whew. God is good. God is good all the time. We'll take a step aside. We'll be back right after this. Grab your cup of coffee. It probably flew out of your hand. Especially at the end when he was like, yeah, I think we're going to be the Commanders. People are like, what? There's been this long 2 years of we're going to reveal it. And Joe's like, boom, there you go. So a lot of stuff coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I am extremely thankful and still in a state of shock. A lot of stuff to be talked about. And these episodes are going to have to be live on all of our podcasting platforms right after this so you can get to it first. So with that being said, we'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life and history is made. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. I hope you're doing well, having a great time, and enjoying your Monday this morning. We are having a fantastic show. We have started off right out of the gate here in such a huge way, and, getting behind the scenes with Adrian Autry and Allen Griffin, telling us about the forwards and the centers and Barama's story and Benny Williams and his maturation and the microwave society of needing something right now and their take on Jim Boeheim and the way he coaches and what he's doing and how the team is responding, and then the fan base, and then what Giannis said to the team and giving us background on the conversation that Giannis had with the guys, to Joe Theismann touching on so many massive, massive topics in the NFL right now. I mean, this has been such a great, great connection. And I feel so honored and so appreciative of the fact that, we've had the opportunity to do this. So it is with great gratitude that we start off January here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal, 3501 James Street, as well as 401 South Salina Street, both in Syracuse, as well as inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse, New York, in their drive-through location. So many thanks to the incredible people at Cafe Kubal, led by Matt Goddard, and I thank them so very much. So great stuff coming up. I made mention of the fact that for those of you, the video ended on Facebook, so you can come and watch it on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And so I'm going to let everybody know here on Facebook, video feed continuing live on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And of course, the audio here on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage as well as on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. So we appreciate you being here, hanging out with us inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, and very, very much I'm so honored to have the opportunity that we're having here this morning to speak with these gentlemen and to have, just awesome content, these questions answered in such an incredible way and so openly. I mean, I honestly am so grateful for what we've gotten to do here inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', giving you the list of topics for the day and our fantastic guests. So big thanks to everybody that's been a part of today's show, to Adrian, to Alan, and to Joe. A big thanks to you here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Awesome week coming up. Tomorrow, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media is going to be unveiling a massive announcement. For those of you that have been on our social media, which I implore you to do so right here, boom, boom, and then boom. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. I implore you to go to those to like and follow us there. At 2:13 p.m. Eastern Time on February 1st, this Tuesday, 2022, there will be a massive announcement being made by Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. That, again, on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. There will be a huge community announcement being made with Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and the Central and Upstate New York community. Huge announcement this Tuesday, February 1st, 2022 at 2:13 p.m. Eastern Time. Why 2:13? Because 21 is my favorite number, and 13, my Papa Cavino, that's his favorite number. And God has been showing me since 2008 those numbers together. So I started seeing 21, then I'd see 13, then I'd see 13, 21, 21, 13, and I started seeing 213, which is his number and my number bonded together for years now, for, I would say at this point, over a decade that I've been seeing 213. So I chose that time for that reason, to pay homage to my family, to my grandfather. He was also a businessman, owned 3 companies when he was here on Earth. So I'm very, very excited to announce at 2:13 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Tuesday, February 1st. Something really cool, really amazing. You got to watch the hype video. I play with you a little bit with it. I actually put a picture in there that I blurred that is going to make a lot of sense on Tuesday. So watch the video on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. It's also on my story on Instagram, so make sure you check that out. Huge announcement coming up with the Central and Upstate New York community this Tuesday. I am so ecstatic. I want to tell you so bad. I want to wear something that'll show you exactly what it is. I want to put all my pictures up. I want to release it now, but I won't. So I got to be patient, and I'm going to do that. I am even right now in this moment subliminally messaging you. That's all I'll say. So very excited. This Tuesday, be on all of our social media, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT for a very, very, very big and special announcement. I cannot wait. I want to tell you so bad. So definitely watch the video and be ready on Tuesday, February 1st at 2:13 p.m. Eastern Time. So with that being said, we're going to take our final step aside of today's broadcast on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And I thank you so much for all that you do to be a part of the show every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, watching and listening on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as listening worldwide on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT and going to WakeUpCallDT.com. We will be back inside of the Cafe Kubal studios to wrap everything up right after this fast break. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. I hope you're having a fantastic start to your week. If you're not, we're going to do our best to make it better. And if you are, we're going to try and keep it going and keep it rocking. So thank you so much for being a part of today's show. Thank you to all my listeners, all my supporters, all of the awesome people in our community, our viewers, our listeners, our supporters, family, friends, business partners, and, of course, our fantastic guests inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', Adrian Autry, associate head coach and alum of Syracuse Orange men's basketball, Allen Griffin, current assistant coach and alum of Syracuse Orange men's basketball, and Super Bowl champion Washington Redskin Joe Theismann, who is also an author, a motivational speaker, and so much more. So a big thanks to all of my fantastic guests that start off this week and bring us into February. A massive announcement is coming to you this Tuesday, February 1st, 2022 at 2:13 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will find what that is if you're following us and liking us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. So make sure you do that today so that you don't miss the big announcement coming up this Tuesday, February 1st of 2022. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for tuning in on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, and MixLR.com, all /WakeUpCallDT. On WakeUpCallDT.com every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, thank you for searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Podbean. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in your favorite podcasting platforms, and one word, Wake Up Call DT. Big thanks to our Central and Upstate New York partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. You can order from Ma and Pa's old-fashioned caramel corn like my grandmother likes, as well as so many other flavors. I think they have over 200 flavors in total in their wheelhouse. So excited for you to go out there from any one of the United States and ordering at Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com. Progressive Dental, Avicoli's Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, the Millhouse Market, Lemoyne Dolphins, Pizza Man, Honda City of Liverpool, PB&J's Lunchbox, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and Mother's Cupboard. Mother's Cupboard with the DT Chicken and Waffles done my way with a sauce that we created with owner Pete Green. PB&J's Lunchbox just unveiling my nachos that are now on the menu, and I got those this past week, and they were fantastic. And, of course, my Orange Dream Sundae, my spin on an orange creamsicle in sundae and shake form, available exclusively at Carvel DeWitt. So right here in the community, you can get things from Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora that we made together just for you, only here in Central and Upstate New York. So don't miss out on those very special menu items that Wake Up Call and the great partners at Carvel DeWitt, Mother's Cupboard, and PB&J's Lunchbox have worked to bring you here in our beautiful community of Central and Upstate New York. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins every single Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. It is Fins Up for Dolphin Time. New episodes of exclusive content with the Lemoyne Dolphins airs every single Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. The first and third Wednesday of each month features AD and DT episodes. Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, coming to you every first and third Wednesday with new episodes of AD and DT, and every second and fourth Wednesday, new episodes of the Dolphin Dive, where we dive into the stories of student athletes, coaches, staff members, alumni, and future members of Lemoyne, all coming to you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the multimedia marketing partner exclusively working with the Lemoyne College Dolphins with content you won't find anywhere else. That content is available by subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, going to the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com as well. And for more information on your Dolphins, go to LemoyneDolphins.com for the most up-to-date information. And fins up, as always. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Marywood University Pacers. It's Pacer Pride, folks, every single month of the year, and the Marywood Pacers coming to you with exclusive content entitled Pacer Pride, the hashtag you'll see all over social media. That comes to you every Friday in the second hour between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The Marywood Pacers round out our week every single week on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and those conversations with Executive Director of Athletics Pat Murphy, as well as head coaches and student athletes, come to you every single month, and you can get all of that content by subscribing to our YouTube channel on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. You can also get it by going to our Marywood tab on wakeupcalldt.com. And for more information, as always, you can go to marywoodpacers.com. It's Pacer Pride all day, every day. With that being said, I want to thank you for listening in and watching the show. I can't believe it's the end of January, and wow, did we end this month in such a big way with content that from Adrian Autry, Allen Griffin, and Joe Theismann that literally is so... I mean, if one of these gentlemen joined the show today, we had a gold mine of content. We had 3 of them join the show. This is an instant classic wake-up call with Dan Tortora, as so many of them have been because of my fantastic guests that really just make it what it is. So thank you to Alan, thank you to Adrian, thank you to Joe, and I will be breaking this show up into 3 parts, sharing it on all of our podcasting platform channels so that you can get to each of these. Fantastic information, breaking information, crucial information about living in this world. So many Syracuse fans had questions, and you got those answers this morning from Adrian and Alan. So many people are thinking about all those NFL topics, and you got answers from Joe Theismann, including the fact that he said 2 days early he believes Washington is going to be the Commanders for the foreseeable future. So, wake-up call, bringing you history, fantastic people, fantastic content to your doorstep every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and 24/7 on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. In the meantime, God bless, no stress, do your best. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Massive announcement coming this Tuesday. So much coming up for you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and I can't wait to bring it on home. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all of our great partners in the community, and make sure you support them too, because they help make Central New York who we are. And I love every minute of being from my hometown. So thank you. God bless. No stress. Do your best. Have a great day, and please be good to each other. Take care.